time for module 4.2, defense tactics against unforgiveness. Number one, again, have realistic expectations. This is a defense tactic because you're going to be frustrated if you think the world is a peaceful place of, perfection and people are perfect and situations are perfect and my parents will never hurt me, my cousins will never hurt me, my siblings will never hurt me. Well, the truth is everyone is developing. And I said it before and it's worth repeating. We are either the victims of one another's development or the benefactor, and sometimes we're both. The challenge is we just want to take the good. We just want to be the benefactors. And in relationship, we are also the victims of one another's development. And someone's the victim of our development. So to have realistic expectations about who people are and what people do, it helps you not to personalize an offense or an incident of when someone hurts you. Be realistic. Expect. I'm not saying accept. Now, there's a difference between being expecting and accepting. We don't accept it, but we expect that people make mistakes. And then we set up boundaries like we stated so that we're safe, so we don't accept it, but we expect that sometimes people make mistakes. We make mistakes. People make mistakes. So we want to be fair and giving people an opportunity to develop because we need an opportunity to develop. That's a defense tactic. In your mind, go into the relationship, the family system, knowing that no matter what type of relationship I'm in, I will be offended. I will be hurt and I will hurt someone intentionally or unintentionally. Number two, examine the pride. Examine the pride. Have yourself examine the pride. Have your clients examine their pride. Now, this is going to be difficult because we all feel like we're good people. We all feel like I don't make mistakes. And so there's a lot of ego responding. Ego responding means that we have a persona that we like to protect. And so we'll right fight, we'll deny, we'll blame because we feel like we have to be perfect in order to get love, in order to be valuable. So anything that suggests that we're not good, we take pause with that and we become resistant and reflective. So in order to examine the pride, this is very difficult. You're going to have to be mature and you're going to have to be willing to look at all sides because, we have blind sides. We have the sides that we see, the side God sees, the side others sees, and the side that, that we like to present to other people. We like to present our best selves. But if you're able to examine for a moment your pride, look at your moral superiority, you'll be shocked that you really feel like you're better than other people as it pertains to character and morality. And if you have moral superiority, you're not going to be able to forgive because you're going to feel like, well, how come they're not like me? And how could they do this? And, oh, what a horrible act. They're so abominable in what they did. And although it is wrong, there is a moral superiority attitude that we can get that we have to check at the door because we're all capable of making mistakes. And the more you walk in unforgiveness and the more you live in unforgiveness, you become more morally superior in your mindset. So you have to bring it down a notch and look, am I being proud? Because I make mistakes too. And you have to recount and ask the question and ask your client, have you ever made a mistake? Have you ever hurt someone willingly or unwillingly? And if they're so oblivious to the fact that they make mistakes, then you're going to have an issue and they're going to have a difficult time even conceiving the idea of forgiveness. Empathy. If you can think about how it must feel to be the other person, because maybe you've made a mistake too, and now you can draw and say it must be horrible to make so many mistakes. It must be horrible to be so selfish. It must be horrible, to have so much perversion. And it's not to excuse it, but it's to understand that people are struggling with their development. Remember, understanding does not make an excuse, but it makes you more empathetic to the fact that people are evolving and that they have challenges and you have challenges and I have challenges. So the empathy piece is big. And initially people are not going to want to see other people's side because they want to stay angry. They want to stay in that mood. But if you want to have the tactics against unforgiveness, you have to begin to develop empathy. Number 4, humility. There has to be some humility. And that's kind of like what we've been talking about with the pride and examining your pride and the empathy. The humility states, I will make a mistake in the future or presently, and I am going to need someone to forgive me. I'm not all that. I am going to hurt the people I love, and I'm going to try not to, but there's going to be a day where I will seek what I want over what someone else wants to hurt. And so, and you have to know that I'm learning how to be interdependent and how to be interconnected and how not to make everything about me. As human beings, we have the tendency to have our best interest in mind at all times. So we have to practice on purpose, including other people into our realm of concern. We don't live for other people, but we live with other people in mind. And we are supposed to live with other people in mind because we are interconnected. We are a family. And when you love people, you are connected. So if your toe hurts, then you can feel that. If your arm hurts, you can feel that. So it is remembering that I have to be humble. I have to remember that I'm going to make mistakes. Number 5, if you're going to be defensive against unforgiveness, you're going to have to develop some communication skills. All the skills that we talked about in the prior lessons, you get to assess the communication style of yourself, your clients, and your congregation. Are they acting out, or do they have mature language? It takes maturity to first calm yourself down with all those raging emotions, move to your prefrontal cortex, and design a strategy to express yourself appropriately so you're attacking the issues and not the person. And speaking up allows you not to harbor all of that information and all of that, the pain of the offense. It does no good to triangulate, meaning talk to a third party about what you're feeling, because the third party can't fix it. You have to communicate with the person who offended you so that you give them an opportunity to clear it up or to apologize. They can't apologize if they don't know what they did or what you perceived, that they did. They can't just by osmosis walk by you and say, oh, I feel like I did this. They have no way of knowing. And most people are horrible at emotional charades. So you can act out the role of somebody who's offended, the role of someone who's sad for being left out, or all of those things. When you have language, you can just communicate and speak up for yourself. And another defense is number 6, maturity, self-help maturity. Develop and make an effort to mature. Make an effort to develop yourself. And this is the process of educating your emotions. When you educate your emotions, meaning that you get your emotions under control, you acknowledge what you feel, but you also let them know that they don't run the show and that there's also thoughts to consider. There's reality, there's facts, and then there's feelings. And so you get to remind your emotions that yes, you get to show up, but then you have to be educated by the facts. Most people are just living in their feelings. And when you've been offended, you're more likely to live in your feelings, and the facts never show up. So we want to be able to educate our emotions so that we can regulate, and then we can change. The next step in maturity is changing your paradigm, putting away childish thoughts, and becoming mature and really assessing situations from both sides and not just letting your feelings speak, but really thinking about, like we talked about, the empathy and what people have gone through and who you are and what you've been through. That means that you have to change your paradigm about, people should be perfect, or if you love me, you'll never hurt me as a family member, or you'll do everything I say, or you'll show up for me all the time, or you'll lend me money, or you won't call the police on me if I violate. You have to change your paradigm. You have to get a mature paradigm and get information about all of the things we're talking about: communication, unity, forgiveness, reconciliation, estrangement. Feed yourself information so that you can challenge the distorted thoughts that you have about how to respond when you're angry, and about human behavior. Avail yourself to learning about human behavior and about emotions and all of those things so that you can challenge those immature thought processes, right? And then number 7, defense is therapy. Sometimes you may just have to go to therapy, and you have to allow someone to teach you how to challenge your thoughts, allow someone to teach you coping skills. And because if you're in unforgiveness, it's because you haven't dealt with the pain, learned how to cope with the pain, and you feel like, I can't forgive. One of the key terms of people who are emotionally immature and is, I can't forgive. And you may feel like it, that you can't, but what you're saying in essence is, I choose not to forgive, because forgiveness is a choice. It is a choice. It's not a feeling. Once you make the decision to forgive, every other action follows that. That means you're going to be kind. That means you're going to think positive. It is an effort and it is a work. And sometimes people are upset still, so they feel like, I must have permission to continue to be walk in unforgiveness. But therapy helps you to gain skills to look at the power choice you have to forgive and how to actually do it. If you say, I can't forgive, in essence, what you're saying is, I don't have the tools, or I haven't made the decision. But by going to therapy, it's a step towards, I'm making the decision to heal. Now I just need tools to help me forgive. And so when your clients, or when you show up to therapy, or when your congregation is in need of therapy, it's an admission that I don't have the tools. And that's okay, because everyone didn't see it modeled in their families of origin.